Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the Beyond Bitcoin show. Today is November the 17th. 2018. Strong hand, unconfiscatable. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Personal responsibility is a new countercultural culture. Deferral of gratification. Check out the link section below. I'll talk about everything in this video is linked to below. And techbalt.com. See all the old This Week at Bitcoin shows. Disruptmeister.com. Get a Trezor t-shirts. Link to below. And follow me on Twitter at techbalt, TECHBELT. All right, so before we go beyond Bitcoin here, we got to talk about what was going on this week in cryptocurrency, because it really got into my philosophy in life, some of the events and how to approach them. The week was definitely filled with scare tactics, threats of implied destruction, there was a negative vibe coming from a certain altcoin's fork, and a lot of people gave it a lot of attention, and some of the bad actors were just thriving off of the talk of destruction and scaring people. But in the end of the day, what I always preach and talk about, whatever you want to say, productivity and positivity wins, being in motion. The psychology of the crypto space is clearly important, and bad actors can influence it and help bring it down and just help make it negative, which is, it's not fun. It's not fun. And when things are negative, price can, in terms of fiat, can be affected, but you shouldn't go around blaming those people. You shouldn't be trying to get revenge and to give them attention, to war with them. It's your personal responsibility to ignore, not get fooled into the panic trap. It's a panic trap. And I talk about this. There's so many panic traps throughout life. You don't want to get caught in some megalomaniac's trap, into someone that's put onto a pedestal, and especially a person who's building themselves up on a pedestal as some type of idol to worship and listen to. Don't fall into those panic traps. Have a strong hand. And again, apply it to all aspects of your life. The blame game is negativity. Productivity is positive. So keep on being productive in crypto. And don't worry about wars and, well, what's this? It's an altcoin. Let the wild, crazy people do what they're going to do in altcoin land. If they're going to shout out lies and stuff, then you talk about the truth. You talk about the truth and what you're doing. And it's always good to shoot down lies and conspiracy theories. I mean, but don't do it in a way that you're like attacked, like you want more from them, like where you're giving them attention. Because again, these people who bring the negativity, who bring the threats of destruction, they really just want attention. And they're going to move the goalpost eventually too. Like, aha, you see, I won. You guys were worried, and now we have this. We see we gained on you. So again, you just calmly and rationally say, no, you're meaningless, and we're going to move on from you. Good luck in your little realm over there. So with all this in mind, check out Wednesday's show, Thursday's show, and Friday's show that kind of dealt with these type of subjects. They were all great. Wednesday's show was just me talking. Thursday's show was Trace Mayer being interviewed, and I mean, he rocked it. He put it in perspective. He's like, let's talk about some serious subjects. Let's talk about Bitcoin. I don't want to talk about these jokes. And that really does put it into perspective. But again, that's why everyone's got to get out of this collectivist mode where they really elevate leaders to like these dictatorial positions of authority, and where they must be believed. Believe yourself, improve yourself. Don't worry about what some leader is threatening. learn that it's not even a threat to you. It doesn't even, you don't have to worry about it. And just don't let those type of distractions distract you from your long-term goals of your strong hand, your savings mentality. Because again, these negative influences, these people of destruction, they can really throw you off the path. They can really throw you off your long-term path if you get enthralled with them, if you worry about them. So don't get fooled. And again, check out Friday's show. Also, anyway, those 3 shows were all a lot of fun. And Trace is just, he was on fire. And he is a saver, and we're gonna get to saving, and he's all about personal responsibility and learning. He was saying all my sayings, and he doesn't watch my. I mean, he's a very busy man. He doesn't watch many of my shows, but he was saying personal responsibility, long-term thinking. You know, if you make a mistake, it's your fault. Don't go blaming him, because again, you know, people say Trace is lucky. You know, Trace is a long-term thinker, and if you watch the show, you'll see why. Okay. So what do we have here? Oh, NBC News article. First of all, pound that like button, people. And an NBC News article reminds us that household debt hit a record high, and this is in the United States, $13.5 trillion last quarter. And that includes mortgage debt. That includes mortgage debt. So that's a lot of money, $13.5 trillion in debt. Americans are. And so if you get into the long-term thinking saver mentality, you're pretty darn elite, okay, if you have no debt compared to $13.5 trillion in debt. I mean, you are really elite. And then you're super elite if you've got that savings in Bitcoin. So again, people were ripping. There are a few people in the comment section still saying, well, all Trace is doing is holding. All he's doing is saving. That's nothing. That's not good. What would you rather him be? Would you rather him be $13.5 trillion in debt? Would he be a hero then? Would he be doing the right thing then? No. He again, he's not like, he's elite. He's smart. He's not one of the $13.5 trillion in debt individuals. He's way on the other side because he saves and he learns and he's got a long-term plan. But again, some people are never going to understand the savings mentality. They're going to just call it luck. Let them do it. Let them keep spending. And it just gets the savers in real money, which is Bitcoin. It just makes us wealthier. So that's good. If they want to make us wealthier, they can make up conspiracy theories and complain. That's great. That they take personal responsibility over their lives. I'll take personal responsibility over my life and save. I'm not trying to fit in and be one of the $13.5 trillion of debt. I mean, that's the ultimate in fitting in then. And we're going to talk about Black Friday in a second too. Again, so just think about how elite you are if you're not part of that $13.5 trillion debt machine in the United. And this is where I'm just talking to Americans here. I mean, it's similar mentality all over the Western world. Now, speaking about mentalities all over the Western world that you don't have to be a part of, you take personal responsibility over your own life. Yaron Brook, and I linked to this video below, and I linked to that NBC article also below. Yaron Brook, and again, you know, Yaron is not for everyone, and he can rub people the wrong way, definitely, and I can see how he can. And I don't agree with 100% of what he says, but he's got some great points. And he reminds us that right now on the planet Earth, especially in the West, let's say in the Western countries, it is the healthiest time to live. People are living longer. You can drink the water. You can, 80 years ago, it's so much pollution. 100 years ago was terrible. 300 years ago, outrageous. Dirt and animal feces in the street. It was sickening. I mean, now you can only see that if you go to like villages far off the beaten path in Africa to see how bad things used to be. So, I mean, the world has improved, not just the Western world, but it's a healthy, people are living much longer. But again, every 10 years, he says, and it's much more often than that now, I would say, somebody comes along saying that the world is going to end because of global this, global that, and oh, we must worry about this. We got to worry about that. It's all going to end. Not that these theories, okay, the world is warming. The world is it humans that are doing? Is it natural? well, how can we benefit from this warming? How can we maybe that it's going to increase trade? You know, there's going to be Arctic ports now. I mean, we got to have the attitude of, you know, as an individual, how's this going to benefit me? But how can we take advantage of this situation? And again, let's think. And if it is life threatening, okay, let's figure out some ways that aren't going to kill more people. That aren't going to force people to do horrible things to fix this problem. Okay, because some of these problems they might not be problems, or they can be turned into positives. So again, just saying, and I'm not talking about any specific problem here, but again, it seems like every day there's something else that's going to end the world, something else we need to panic, to put us into the panic prison. And it gets young people into this mindset like everything's unhealthy. This is a terrible time to live. It's a sick time to live. And they have no clue that, 50, how great a time it is to be alive, and the technologies. So instead of being in a panic, let's work on technologies that will solve all current and future problems possible, and they might not even be problems. So again, growth and positivity, and if you get stuck in the panic prison, you depend on collectivism. You're like, well, okay, we got to force everyone to do this. We got to get a dictator who's going to tell us everything. He's going to solve the whole problem. He's going to tell us what to do. I'm going with the crowd. This is it. No, let's all come up with individual solutions and individual theories. Try to work it out. Again, if there was a meteor shower and when everyone started dying, that would be an immediate problem. I think we all could agree on it, and we could create some solutions. Right? But again, the dire situation that everything's going to end in 10 years, it's not healthy. Don't get yourself into that mindset. Get yourself into the mindset like, okay, there are always going to be challenges in life. We're living in an incredible time to be alive. I'm lucky to be alive during this time. Let's make the most of it. I don't want the government stifling any technologies. Let the smart people do their thing, and I'm going to do my thing. And I think we'll be good. And then we should check out Yaron's. It's not just about that. But again, my overarching principle, be positive. Don't get into a panic prison. There you go. BMT, Bitcoin Memes Today, sends, I think it's 20 Norwegian krona, I believe this is. Admire your calmness. December 17 versus November 18. Always cool. Well, I mean, thank you very much for the super chat. And again, yes, last year, December 17, it was great. Of course, it was great when everything was going up in fiat value. And I visited Korea, and I see all these Korean people that are into crypto. And now in November, and I was very positive. And now November 18, I'm still super duper positive. I mean, I still know about the 2020 halving. I mean, nothing has changed. Nothing is. I knew the 2020 halving was coming up in December of last year. I know now in November of this year it's going to come. I mean, again, it's long-term thinking. I didn't get into this to flip it and to flip it right away. And I don't care about US dollars. I care about Bitcoin. I know I have more Bitcoin than I did back then. Yeah, I have more Bitcoin than I did a year ago. So of course I'm happier. Yeah, whatever. No. But anyway, yeah, you got to keep it on the up and up, people. I mean, again, what's it? Again, if you're a negative person, you're not going to go anywhere in life, really. I don't know. I mean, that's your you can be that way. That's your way of life. You're not going to bring me down. You're not going to bring me down. And as everyone can see, you can check out November 2016, October 2015, all different times. It's the same guy saying the same thing with the same attitude. So I'm glad you noticed that. Pound that freaking like button, people. I don't know. Anyway, if anyone has any questions, I think we might have some time for some questions at the end today. Maybe. So maybe hold off until another 5 minutes because I don't have that much to talk about here. Okay, we did Yaron Brook. We said pound that like button. And again, thank you. And Norway, I love Norway. I love Bergen. I love Oslo. But of course, I was there during the heat wave in May and early June, and it was like the hottest it had been there. Or it was the least rain they had for 3 years. Oh, it was beautiful. I've talked about this before, but no, I wouldn't go there during the winter. I'm not down with that stuff. I'm in Santiago, Chile right now, and I'm going to go back to Baltimore for Thanksgiving. And we're going to talk about Thanksgiving right now. I'll be in Baltimore on Wednesday again with my family and my friends, and it's always good to be back in Baltimore. to see your family. But again, I love seeing different parts of the world, meeting different Bitcoin people and everything. And apparently Andreas Antonopoulos is coming to Santiago once I leave. Oh, great. All right. So Black Friday is in a week. Oh, my God. And Black Friday is the Friday after Thanksgiving, where there's all sorts of sales in the United States. And now it's all sorts of sales all over the world. Everybody celebrates Black Friday. And people in retail have to go work on that Friday. And again, now people in retail have to go work on Thanksgiving also. All right. So some people are like, oh, that's horrible. Again, they're in retail. Don't be in retail if you don't want to work on Thanksgiving. I mean, what can I say? At the same time, it's horrible if you have to work both days, but I do believe most retail places that are going to make people work on Thanksgiving, and there's not that many, will give you off on that Friday. So you can have Thanksgiving with your family that Friday. I mean, for me, Thanksgiving is, it's a time that people can get together, families can get together and hang out, and it's cool to be with your family. It doesn't have to be on that Thursday. It can be on that Friday. It doesn't have to be on that specific day. Now, another thing is, people thinking like it's against it's horrible that people have to work on Thanksgiving. That now they're having sales even on Thanksgiving. I said, but whatever, let the free market. If people want to go, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to hang with your family on Thanksgiving. You can go, if there's shopping opportunities on Thanksgiving, be my guest, blow your wad on that. You're not a saint. Again, I'm not shopping I'm not shopping at all. I'm not shopping at all when I'm in Baltimore if I don't have to, okay? Again, I'm a saver. But again, people are going to do, the consumer mentality in the Western world, we went over the trillions of dollars in debt everyone's in. They're going to do what they're going to do. Okay, so there shouldn't be any laws. You can't be open on Thanksgiving. Eventually we will get to a time where like everybody, all the big Walmart, everyone will be open all Thanksgiving Day. And please, if people want to do that, that's personal responsibility. Again, if you work in that industry and you're like, oh, it's horrible, I don't have to. Well, then get out of that industry. Get out of that industry now, because it's coming. It's coming. If you're a long-term thinker, you can see things that are coming down the road. And speaking of that, Ben Shapiro has brought up a great point on his show the other day. And I actually don't link to it below. Just check out all his shows. They're all pretty good. And he says that Facebook now is being interrogated by the European Union. All these people, the U.S. government saying, oh, the election, you let Russians buy ads that nobody saw, and blah 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 blah. And he points out that it's clearly obvious that they don't, that by the 2020 election, and if you care about elections, you'll care about this, that Facebook will be totally, if you post something that Facebook goes against Facebook's political view, they'll censor it by 2020. And they'll just say, well, this was electioneering, this is against our policy. And guess what? That's Facebook's right to do that. But Ben Shapiro is telling you here in 2018, this is what's coming down the road. So if you rely on Facebook for anything in life, prepare. They're biased. They can censor you. It's a private company. Be prepared. Don't put all your eggs in the Facebook basket. If all your eggs are in the Facebook basket, then And again, there are all these MGTOW YouTubers who had all their eggs in the YouTube basket. There was just a CNN did a special. I don't know exactly what it was about, but they had a big MGTOW section revealing what MGTOW was. And I actually linked to it below where they had John of MGTOW is free. And he's a smart guy, John. I don't believe all the stuff he goes off on some tangents about some things, but he's a smart guy. Big John of right now it's called Men's Freedom. What's it called? I don't know. But I linked to he appeared on CNN, and it looked like it was a good interview. They kind of, they painted him in a dark light or whatever, but it got the word out to people that MGTOW exists. Well, right afterwards, a few days afterwards, coincidentally, YouTube demonetizes all of these MGTOW channels. Maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe they just found about it from CNN. I don't know. Well, you get people like Sandman all of a sudden, oh my God, what am I to do? Now, he wasn't that panic stricken, but there are all these people like, we've been demonetized. I'm like, yeah, of course, dudes. Of course. You didn't think this was going to happen? You got to have long-term thinking. Do you wise MGTOWs have a Bitcoin address? If you rely on, again, now mention MGTOW, he doesn't rely on YouTube for any of his income whatsoever. He just does a show for the heck of it. So he's not complaining. They didn't take him off. he didn't get demonetized because he's not monetized. But there's some guys, apparently, they put off, this is going to hurt them seriously. Well, they should have had a Bitcoin address underneath their videos all this time. They should have been in the Bitcoin all. I mean, again, people would have been giving them crypto from the beginning, and they'd have a savings in crypto right now. And again, so plan ahead for things like that. And a great way to plan ahead is get into crypto, get into, again, post all your YouTube stuff on Steam. They should have been doing that all along too, and earning Steam and turning it into Bitcoin. But again, these things, and then people will rag on YouTube. Oh, they're against MGTOW. Yeah, okay, they're against MGTOW. Great. Maybe they'll be against Bitcoin one day too. I don't know. I mean, that's their prerogative. Then we move on and we plan it. We don't put all our eggs in one basket here. So YouTube can do what they're going to do. Twitter can do what they're going to do. You think ahead and you have some alternative strategies and stuff like that. And again, I think it's lame that they're picking. I mean, and who knows? Maybe they'll I don't know why they demonetize all these MGTOW channels. I'm not going to worry about it personally. I'm not going to worry about it because I'm prepared. And I mean, if the guys weren't, if this is really hurting them financially, they really paying themselves into quite a corner there. Get into the Bitcoin overlay. What can I say? There have been people like me. You can check out my videos for 2015 that have been preaching it ever since then. I don't know if Sandman and some of these other guys had bought some some Bitcoin instead of what was it? Let's say the type of stocks that Sandman says they get. What are the payments? How can I forget this word? Oh my God, the dividend payment stocks. He's like, I like to invest in stocks that give a yearly dividend. How could I forget the word dividend? I was the guy who came up with crypto dividend. Pound that freaking like button. Yeah, if he had been getting some crypto dividends instead of some freaking Clorox dividends, he probably wouldn't care very much right now that he's been demonetized. All right, pound that freaking like button. So what else do we have? Oh, and here's a tweet. I don't agree with this tweet, but it's the mindset that why people are driven crazy by things that they don't know and they don't understand, and they just become obsessed with that. They don't control that. This is what gets people into the thinking that they don't control their own destiny. Let me read you this tweet by Edu Engineer. He says, if you're busy making fun of somebody's conspiracy theory about who runs the world, you're missing the meta point that not knowing what powers pull what levers presents a menagerie of unresolved existential anxiety for essentially everyone. So he's saying that everyone should be worried, really sick and worried, that they don't understand, they don't know who controls the world. That this is an existential anxiety, unresolved existential anxiety. Who runs the world? No, that is the completely wrong take on the world. You run the world, dude. You run your own personal world. Don't think that some mystery person far away is pulling levers that's going to control the rest of. No, you control yourself, dude. And if you think, of course, you're going to have this eternal anxiety if you think that there are mysterious powers out there and you don't understand how these powers work. Again, you've got that power obsession. Get rid of power. You control you. Everyone's so obsessed with power. And that's what this altcoin freakazoid week was all about in Bitcoin. That he wanted power over the altcoin. He wanted to flex his muscle and threaten everyone and threaten to bring down the whole crypto world if he didn't get his way. And that gave him this power joy because he's a psychopath, basically. Again, I'm not saying that, but once you go down to the path of worrying about power, you eventually end up there. You eventually end up there, and you make up stories, you make up excuses why you're not controlling your own life. So that tweet is just a freaking lame excuse for people who put power on a pedestal and obsess over people controlling, thinking that people control them when they freaking control themselves. I mean, again, if I thought other people control me And I wouldn't be where I am today. I control me. I went down the road I wanted to go on. Okay. People were saying, oh, Bitcoin's not cool. Bitcoin's going to zero. But I mean, there's a video of me in 2015 even saying, people like Peter Schiff don't like Bitcoin. And that was like when Bitcoin was $400 or $300. And at that point, I could have just joined Peter Schiff and all the rest of the people. No. I knew, I did my research. I control myself. This is the path I'm going on. Long-term thinking. All right. So Kim Pugovian. Klim Pugovikin. I'm sorry I'm messing your name up. He sends 20 pounds. He says, hi, Adam. Just had some thoughts. Curious what you think about this. Since devs, BC holders, maximalists are the only people who really care about Bitcoin, its adoption, isn't it entirely on them to team up and make it happen? Well, part of making it happen is holding and not selling. So, and they are making it happening just by being themselves. If you're a BTC holder, by definition, what you do is hold. That's helping. By being a maximalist, what you're doing is just you're talking about Bitcoin being the superior thing, and that control helps influence the psychology. And you say devs also care, are the only people that care about Bitcoin and its adoption. Isn't it entirely up to them? And they're making it happen too by making it stronger, by making Bitcoin stronger. So all the things that we're doing are leading toward adoption. Okay, I mean, I would have to say out of that group, yeah, especially the maximalists, because they're talking the talk and they're spreading the word, and they're making it clear that the other ones aren't the ones to adopt and to get on. And again, the developers are also doing a great job, as they're making it easier for adoption. They're making the user interface easier in theory, and they're making it more secure. And so, okay, and then you said another 20. So no one else will make it happen, it seems. Exchanges are interested in anything that brings money. But if BTC is no longer bringing money, some other coin is instead, then probably they won't be much upset. What do you think? No. You see, most of the exchanges are all based around Bitcoin right now. I mean, everything trades into Bitcoin, so they wouldn't just give it up. But you're getting onto the subject of, well, how important is adoption right now anyway? I mean, what is adoption? Do you mean using it like for day-to-day usage? I mean, right now, we don't need consumers to be using Bitcoin right now. Clearly, not yet. I mean, it's a store of value. I mean, we had Tawanda Kembo on the show from Zimbabwe yesterday, and again, he's talking about their main use case down there is people, getting out of their useless currency or just getting into Bitcoin so they can send value out of the country. But again, as holders, we're doing a great thing. We're not giving in to fiat. We're not trading in what we say is the next currency of the world to the old currency of the world. And I think that's very meaningful. And there's less and less of it out there. And again, because we're holding. And one other thing I wanted to say about that, in terms of adoption, the big players out there, the big financial institutions, they want a piece of this right now. They want a piece of the Bitcoin because that is the most reliable one. They understand it, okay? So they're just waiting for easy ways, legal ways to get it, to have custodial accounts. These institutions will want to hold it on custodial accounts. That's all being set up right now. This is, and it's all going to happen. So for the people you mentioned to like become, and maybe, I don't know if I'm misinterpreting your words, to become vocal preachers of it, let's say, I don't think it's necessary, because we're going to have this influx of institutional money coming in, which again will bring up the price in terms of fiat, which will gain an incredible amount of attention from the media. And there's built-in events too that the media comes in for too, the halving. So the media will help with the adoption of Bitcoin. And if your worry is that will the media pick up with some other coins? No, it's everyone is on Bitcoin right now. The amount of people onto Bitcoin invested in holders of Bitcoin, holders of, I mean, I've asked before, are there holders of last resort of other coins. Are there? I don't even know if there are. I've never heard someone say, I'm going down with the Ethereum ship even. And we know Ethereum is the real number 2 cryptocurrency out there too. So, no, Bitcoin maximalism or Bitcoin. What was the saying I came up? I had a Bitcoin. The Bitcoin first attitude is one that I have, and one that a lot of other people have. And again, they're going to be, once the institutions do come in, there are going to be some that diversify for the sake of diversify. Some of the top tier altcoins will also be pulled up, but there's not going to be a switch off of Bitcoin. And when you hear these people, and one of the things is that's a doubt tactic that people that are involved in the altcoin land like to inject into Bitcoin. Like, oh, it'll be like Friendster was. It's way beyond that at this point now. I mean, there's billions of dollars invested into Bitcoin, and the smartest developers, Lightning Network, so many things being built on top of. There's nothing even close being built on top of any of these other cryptocurrencies. And Ethereum had the ICOs and whatever. But again, I've talked a lot about this, Klim, because you sent some very nice super chats there. So thank you very much. We had a little bit of a Bitcoin interlude there, but hey, man. It's called the Beyond Bitcoin Show, so I can talk about some Bitcoin because that's in the name of the show too. Pound that like button. Okay. So, okay, we talked about the power and unresolved exit. Okay, so yeah, don't worry about power. And I would also say, don't worry too much about when you hear these veiled threats like from these altcoin type people saying, I will reveal in 11 months a weakness of Bitcoin that will propel my altcoin to be number 1. No. Okay. No. If they had a real threat, then bring it on right now. There is no real threat. If there's a real threat, they bring in. If there was real information, they would take down Bitcoin now because they know in 12 months there'll be a lot more people into this thing, a lot more time and energy invested. Every day that goes by, Bitcoin becomes stronger and stronger, and it becomes more and more obvious. But again, we'll have there'll be altcoins will be pumped again, and we'll have to hear all this noise, this crypto noise. It's crypto noise when you're hearing, oh, and again, people ask me, what do you think about Litecoin, dude? And I'm like, it's not, I mean, it's like Bitcoin, but it's not Bitcoin. And they have some vocal fans. It's great. I mean, they're not trying to destroy, they try to work in cooperation with Bitcoin. I think that's nice. They're not trying to be the next Bitcoin. What can I say? That's a positive. Charlie Lee's a nice guy. He is a nice guy. He has a lot of Bitcoin also. And I said Bitcoin. Okay, because he doesn't have any Litecoin. And he had to get out of that. But anyway, and he is a great guy. People try to rip on him for, he's got to do, and that's the thing. When you're a founder of a coin, it puts a lot of pressure on you. I mean, you're traceable. You're traceable when you're not hidden. And he had to do what he had to do to protect himself. So, all right. What do we got here? Oh, yeah, Stefan Molyneux. We were talking about, people worrying about who controls the lever of power and all this. And Stefan Molyneux is talking about illegal immigration and so he brought up something like, why would, if Israel's in the Middle East, they should be taking in many refugees or something like that. And again, this plays into the crowd that watches his show, a tremendous crowd that watches his show, who blame Israel for everything and say that Israel has no, the Jews, they say the United States has to take in all these refugees, but they won't take in any, they don't have any illegal immigrant problem in Israel. No, the Jew. You see, that's where you're wrong here. That's where this is where Stefan is very, very wrong. Here you go. Here's something you can do. Go to Tel Aviv right now. Walk around South Tel Aviv and tell me how many Eritreans and Sudanese you see there. You see a lot. How did they get there? They're not citizens of Israel. Yeah, you see, Israel has an illegal immigrant problem. You see big black dudes from Sudan, clearly not Jews, walking around South Tel Aviv, walking around Beersheba. And, there's nothing wrong with being a big black dude or whatever. I'm just pointing out, it's so obvious to the naked eye, and for anyone who wants to do a minute's worth of research, that Israel has like any Western nation, has an illegal immigrant problem. Sudanese and Eritreans have gotten in there. How they got in there? They're like, oh, Israel's got this wall. They got in there. They got in there. No, Israel doesn't have a whole wall surrounded. They've walled off some of Jerusalem, and from the Arabs on that side, which I think is a mistake to do, because it creates an artificial boundary that they'll say, well, this is it. If you're a Jewish town on the other side of the wall, then in the end of the day, they'll say, well, you got to give this up because it's on that side of the wall. That's what I don't like. I mean, there are different ways of controlling terrorists getting into your nation and stuff, okay? But some aspects of this wall, it creates this artificial barrier that says that Israel is going to have to give up these parts of Judea and Samaria. And Israel shouldn't have to give up any part of Judea and Samaria. It's ridiculous. But and again, the Arabs who live in these lands, and this is a different subject, you just pay them. Say, I don't think they should be forcibly moved. Say, hey, if you can stay, or we'll give you money for your land and you can go. And many will take it. I mean, there's a solution. There's a free market solution right there. But that's not what this is about. This is about this little talk right here is about these conspiracy, so when you're in Israel, there are many liberal Jews that are like, we got to keep these Eritreans. We got to keep these Sudanese. Just like there are many liberal Jews in all of the Western nations who think that immigration is great. Now, notice that I said liberal Jews. Is it because they're Jews, or is it because they're liberals? Liberal people tend to like immigration. There you go. They're even in Israel, even the Jews in Israel. There's plenty of Jews in Israel that want everybody and their mother to come to Israel, okay? It doesn't matter if they're white, black, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, or whatever. There are plenty of them. There are plenty of them. It's not some conspiracy where all the Jews are saying we want the refugees from Africa only in Europe and America to bring them down. Oh, that's our mistake. No, they're coming into Israel also, and they're in it, and they have debates about it. What should we do with these Sudanese and Eritrea? But again, it's so hilarious. You hear about how Israel takes no refugee. You walk around Tel Aviv, you see these Sudanese, and you can tell they're not Ethiopians. Trust me. I mean, again, if you can't tell the difference between an Ethiopian and a Sudanese, then I mean, maybe you're the racist there, dude. There's a big difference between the way an Ethiopian looks and a Sudanese looks. There's definitely a big difference. You should, again, but I mean, the people like this don't care. So one of the funny things that I love about non-Bitcoin, and even in some Bitcoin videos, you get these blamers in any type of video, and they get upvoted like anything. Their comments. So here's a comment that got 20 upvotes, and it wasn't even the main comment. It was the reply to a reply under one of these videos. It got 20 upvotes, and let me tell you what this reply said. And it says, instead, okay, let's see. Israel has a wall that we probably paid for, but they don't want America to have a wall. Instead, Jews with dual citizenship are in our government. 26% in the Senate. So this guy got 20 upvotes for what he just said. He said that 26% of the United States Senate are Jews with dual citizenship to Israel. Now, what this individual might not realize is that the United States Senate is made up of 100 people. So that would mean that 26 out of the 100 people in the United States Senate are Jews with dual citizenship to Israel. Okay, so that's what, and he got 20 upvotes for this. So things, and people just let this pass because it's the Jews are the fault. This is why my life sucks, because of the Jews, because there's 26 of them. No, you do a simple search. There are 9 starting on December 3rd, 2019. There are going to be 9 Jews in the United States Senate. 9% of the U.S. Senate is going to be Jewish. America is about 2% Jewish, so there's some overrepresentation there. Okay, there's some overrepresentation there. None of those 9 people have dual citizenship, from what I know. None of them do. Okay, so, but again, this is what the stuff that gets spread out there. Okay, I mean, when you take a moment to even think about it, if you're an intelligent person, at least, you're like, how can that be true? That 26 members of the United States Senate are Jews that have dual citizenship with Israel. I mean, it's so ridiculous. Oh, 20 upvotes immediately. I mean, this is the word. But again, if those people want to sit around blaming the Jews for everything, and that is the type of thing, that is blaming the Jews for everything. When you come up with something like that, when you say there's 26% of the United States Senate are Jews with dual citizenship to Israel, when it's 9 Jews in the U.S. Senate starting on January 3rd, and none of them have dual citizenship. None of them do, from what I know at least, and none of them do. It's not a common thing. I would love that. I would love to get a second passport from Israel. I would love it. I would love it. I hope maybe I will one day. I think that would be great. Again, I've told people in this video many times, like the more countries you live in, you get away from this collectivism mentality where you get obsessed with these leaders like Trump this, Trump that. If you're spending most of your time in a different country, you don't care about this politics nonsense anymore. Now, speaking about this politics nonsense, Beto, I told you about Beto months ago now, and he lost Ted Cruz. But here we get an article from AOL. Polls show Biden, Sanders, and O'Rourke are the top 2020 Democrats. And Fox News says O'Rourke gets invite from Iowa Democrats. Now, he didn't win the election in Texas. But again, he's a favorite. He's one of the favorites to win. Had he won, he would have been the favorite to win the Democratic nominee. Now, he's not the favorite. Maybe he'll be the next vice president. I don't know. I don't care, actually. I'm just pointing this out because it is so predictable how the media narrative, how everybody picks up on it. And, he's just a cookie cutter of what is the anti-Trump, of what's going to get all these collectivists enthused to go against Trump. And again, you shouldn't worry about Trump. You shouldn't worry about O'Rourke. You should worry about yourself. Beto isn't going to solve your problems. The U.S. Senate isn't going to solve your problems. Donald Trump is going to solve your problems. You're going to only solve your problems. And if you get obsessed with the mainstream media, well, you're very predictable. I'll say that because I just predicted. I predicted, this whole Beto thing. I mean, that it would become. I know, but Ben Shapiro. But eventually, more and more people were bringing it up. When I first brought up Beto on this very show, it was in August or September. Hardly any nationwide had heard of him at that point yet. But it's so obvious that that he's got this Hispanic nickname. He's not Hispanic at all. But he fits. He's the next Obama. Whatever. He's the fake Hispanic Obama. That's the way the identity politics works. So, don't waste your time on that type of stuff. I am bringing it up though because it is very predictable, and I'm just trying to say that's why you should kind of get out of that mainstream overlay, because politics is part of that. Not overlay, the mainstream. That's the mainstream way. Worrying about politics, worrying about the end of the world and who is going to be your savior. That is a waste of your time. That is the mainstream. The counterculture is personal responsibility and worrying about yourself. If you want to follow politics on the side, follow politics on the side. It's a hobby. I mean, it can be fun. It can be, entertaining, making, predictions about individual. But don't put all your eggs in the politics basket. Don't put all your eggs on yourself. Let yourself control your future, not these people in D.C. or whatever. All right. So, yeah, don't hand over control of your life to one person. The only person you should hand over control of your life to is you. You're the one person you should. Okay. Did anybody have any questions here? He's Spanish. Yes, he's the fake Hispanic Obama. He's the fake Hispanic Obama because he's not really Hispanic, but just using that Beto name will make many people give them a warm, fuzzy feeling like, yes, he's Hispanic in his heart. Yes, he is. And he's part of my victimhood group. Again, no minority out there, no majority should try to paint themselves as a victim. None. Yeah, because one of the things that Stephen Molyneux also does that I don't like, he's like, but no, white men can't get this and white man can't get this. And if you're a white man, you can't say, he's painting white men as victims, okay? And you know what? He might be right that white men are looked down upon for saying X, Y, and Z and are vilified wrongly. And he's right about that, that white men are vilified in a way. But don't make yourself, if you're a white man, I'm a white man, just do it. Just do what you're going to do, dude. Be the winner and let the haters hate, man. Let the haters hate. And hey, it's a competition. May the best man win. May the best person win. So let the haters say, that's all noise. That's dragging you down and stuff. That's dragging you down. All that. So some of these people are like, no, we're not victims. We're not victims. We're gonna get through this. And as a Jewish person too, bad stuff happened to us. Yeah, bad stuff happened to us. But we keep on trudging on, baby. Keep on trudging on. And and to be guilted. Because when you're a victim, you can be guilted into doing things too against your interest. But if you are a person who's looking out for yourself, you're not going to get guilted. You're not going to be a victim. So don't get into that. Don't get into that victim mentality if you're a minority or a majority. Okay, don't get into that because that's only going to slow you down, and you're not going to be. And you're going to worry about it. And you're going to try to take revenge or something. You're not going to be looking out to help yourself. All right, so. Yeah, enough of identity. That's the poison of identity politics. Again, so many people who are against identity politics kind of get intertwined with it, and then they become part of it. So you gotta be careful. Just don't get into politics. I mean, that's my good advice of the day. Okay, yeah, individualism is the accomplishment, and collectivism is the default. So be an individual. Fitting in is overrated, dudes. Be an individual. Pound that like button. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video. Check out the links below. And seriously, check out Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday's show. They were a blast. I will say hi to you dudes in the chat right now. Thanks.